How are we going, everyone? I'm installing some more netting. This time I'm using the white one in this raised bed. Before I do that, come and have a look at it. This is the bed where we had some onions growing. Capsicums died because they struggled with a cold frost that we had. And the silver beet, well, I got my better half to cut them back, and that's her attempt of cleaning them up for me. But anyway, they're tough as nails. That was a funny moment too, by the way. I prepared this garden bed, so I was just thinking I should share any more, but I know if she's watching, I'll be dead. You won't see any more videos from me. Back to the topic here. I turned the soil over. Now, if you know anything about silver beet, they're as tough as nails. They throw roots everywhere. Their roots were over on this side, and the soil had gone hard, as all soil does over time. You know, when we talk about no-dig gardens, it's okay if your soil never goes hard, but 99.999% of the time, every soil, unless it's sandy loam, you're near the beach, clay-based soils and, you know, a little bit of sand on top and clay at the bottom, they all go hard, they all crust over. So eventually, every bed either needs to be topped up properly, but always get your little cultivator, that 3-tine little hand tool you scratch around with, get that and break the crust over if you don't want to dig it over. That is with a garden fork. I added chicken manure, charcoal, black grit. You've seen me do it a million times. I'm not going to show you how to do it. You can watch the previous videos where we've done it anyway. And the drip system's also installed here. You can see there's only one run. Now, I've planted the big Malacca tomatoes. Now, these ones here, as opposed to the other ones, if I show you, these have been growing in a little pot, and I won't say struggling, but just not as effective, as tough as the other ones are that I've put in the ground. These ones here were planted a week earlier, and the same sort of preparation with the garden bed, not the sun, the garden bed that is. I've planted some coslettas on the outside, and we've got a little bit of endive or chicory growing and potatoes in there. Bird netting. I was going to say shade cloth, bird netting or insect netting, and it's got to be wildlife friendly if you're in Victoria. You know, even 10% or 15% reduction in direct sun makes the world of difference to the quality of your plant. It doesn't stress the soil out. You don't get the harsh sun rays as much. So exposed soil to direct sunlight can dry out really quick. Mulch on top controls that whole environment, the microclimate. And even bird netting or insect netting, when you haven't got the mulch, is better than nothing at all. And in here, it's a double whammy. We've got the mulch and the netting, and it's doing tremendously well. You can see how dark green the potato leaves are already gone. That's only been a week on. Actually, this has only been a couple of days on. They're thriving, but they've been with the new compost, and that's what's helped them green up as well. Now, these tomatoes are taken off beautifully. A week older than the other ones. Yes, I know some of you, many of you, have got huge tomatoes up here, picking already. I'm happy for you. Good on you. I'll catch up. But my ones over there only went in last night, and they're only this big, and they're going to catch up to these ones. And the ones, if you remember, have a look at these. Now, these sleeves are protecting them so much that they're actually gone a little bit soft, meaning they need to be hardened off again. And they will harden off on their own as they start to grow out of this pot. See, that's got a bit more exposure. These were smaller than that. Now they're actually stretching because they're trying to get more direct sunlight, and that's okay. We got a little bit of growth on them there, but they are a little bit soft. But I can't imagine these going backwards at all from here on. They've settled down. They are going to be jumping out of these little sleeves. And at the end of the day, they're great for, you know, if you have bird problems, and I don't have a lot of bird problems, they scatter around a little bit on the mulch, but they don't dig up my seedlings. The chickens do, but they're not allowed in here at the moment until they grow big enough. But they're great for the bird protection if you need to cover some seedlings when you put them in. Even snails, stops the snails. It's a great snail guard for small seedlings, so they can get a chance to grow bigger and stronger and healthier. You know, talking about snail protection, I don't think it's a snail. Something got in here. Just shoot a little bit off the leaf on top there. But what I want to show you here by comparison, the sleeve's great. See how it's stretched? See how lime green that is? It's soft. That's because it's stretched quite quickly because it's nice and warm in there and protected. Whereas this one here, it's actually hardened off a lot better. So that is a stronger plant by comparison, but this one's got the height on it, and it will harden off now. So we've got a bit of growth on it. I'm going to keep that off there. I'm actually going to stake this up to stop it from falling over. And do the same with these ones. Yep, do the same with those. And that way they get the direct sunlight because they're big enough now. They're big boys and girls. They can play on their own. They don't need little protection anymore. At the end of the day, folks, gardening, there isn't one way of just gardening. You can do so many different ways of plant training, tying, even bird netting. As you can see, I'm using 3-in-1 flexi frames. I'm using poly pipe here. I've got timber frames with flexi frames, and I've got timber frames with poly pipe, and I've got the 6-way bamboo connectors, the cane connectors as well. So that's just an example of how many different ways you can do things and build things, especially even protecting your plants like the seedlings and tomatoes. I may suggest a way or multiple ways, and every year it's been different for me. The year, as far as the seasons are concerned, have been different, and my approach to how I prepare the garden, what I put in the garden, the way I configure my garden has changed year after year. And it's purely to trial and error, because we've been here 4 years, this is our 4th year, and each year we've had different success rates on different methods, and we're trying to work out what best suits our microclimate and my habits as a person, as a gardener, what I like doing. Now, you may see something from somebody else demonstrating a gardening technique that's different to what I do, and you may find that better, and it is better for you. My gardening technique's great for me. If you like to try it, you're welcome to try it. If you think it's crazy, I'd love you to share those ideas as well with me. Keep it polite, but definitely share your ideas and other ways and methods so everybody can learn. And that's what it's all about. As you can see here, this is the other poly pipe. I've just put it on. There's no concrete rods in here. There's no bamboo sticks in here. I've actually screwed it to the bottom of the sleeper wall there. 2 screws, 8mm gauge, whatever they call them, and a screw on top to stop it from moving. It does wobble around like that. I'm thinking about putting some cross bracing. Maybe, maybe not. Not really, I don't need it. What I'm concerned about, it's snagging on top of this mesh that I've got here now. As I drag it across, you can see the upright wire where it's just sort of protrudes past the top rail. That may snag the netting until I get it over the top of my arch. These are my arches, the Maresi arches. They're not golden. Ooh, what colour are they actually, the Maresi? Green? They have to be green or orange. They're our colours. Anyway, I've got my 3 arches up, trying to drag my netting over the top. Now you can switch off now because this gets boring, or you can sit here and watch and laugh and say he's done it wrong. Yeah, he's done it wrong. The 5 metres, actually, this is 5 metres this way, yeah. Now, so this has got to go over the top and hang down because it's 5.5, and this is about 8 metre long. I don't want to cut my netting because I'll use it again next year for something different. So this goes over the top. That went well, didn't it? Hear that? The corellas, they're in. See? I love my wildlife, folks, but there's about 1,000 of those that flock together, and they land on the paddocks. And this year, I guarantee you, they're going to be landing in my orchard there. So I'm going to have to cover 200 trees somehow. But with netting, another topic about netting, or tip about netting, if you buy a 5x5 or a 10x10, and your actual coverage area is 5x5, the netting, when it's packed, it's actually quite compressed. It's rolled in. Have a look at this part here. This is what I'm talking about. See the end of it? When I opened this up, it looked like it was only going to stretch out to about 2 or 3 metres, where in fact, when I did finish stretching it out, I got at least 5.5, 6 metres, and it's listed as a 5 metre netting, but see how much extra there is. What you need to do is take it out with a second person helping you, right? One on either end, stretch it out so it opens up the netting and stops that accordion retraction happening again. So now it's been stretched, a little bit more to do, clean up the ends like that, and then drape it over and never leave it loose. I've got it loose at the moment, but don't leave it loose like this. If you're going to do anything loose, if you need to leave it open, that is, wrap it around and get some Ziploc ties or a little bit of wire or something just to tie it onto there, or clamp if you can, to keep it nice and neat. Otherwise, birds can still get caught up in it. I know it's crazy, but we've got to protect our wildlife while we're protecting our plants at the same time. So, netting, believe me, when the time comes, you're going to wish you had some. So if you haven't got it, check it out at our website, vasilisgarden.com, for some great products and ideas and gardening fertilisers. Everything you need at vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasili, Maresi.